Hello world, I'm Miss Conversation Peace, and I'm here in the VIP section with Miss Black USA, all the way from Oakland, California, Miss Deidre Tufan. How are you doing today?
I am blessed and highly favored. How are you?
Amazing. I'm so grateful to be here. We're in a beautiful atmosphere here in Los Angeles, and I get to speak with you about your journey. So let's start. What made you want to be in the pageant for Miss Black USA? Because it's not like other pageants. It's not a beauty pageant. It's more about education and community. So what made you choose this pageant?
So you actually mentioned it right there, that it's a pageant not like any other pageant. And I've competed in pageants before. I competed in the USA system as well as other smaller systems. And what I noticed is that Black beauty is present in those pageants, but it is very obviously not preferred, which is very sad given it's 2024. As far as we've come, the Black icons, the Black beauty icons that we have, and yet there's still a glass ceiling as far as Black women in those diverse spaces. But with the Miss Black USA organization, there are Black queens back to back to back. It's always a Black winner. It's always Black sisterhood, and it's always Black excellence. And I loved that. And I longed for that. And I found it in this organization.
That's amazing. And so what does it take to get the title? So you first you must compete in the state and then nationally. So what does it take to get it? So
there are different ways that you can. The first is being an at-large delegate, meaning that you don't have a state competition, but you apply for the national competition. The second way, which is what I did, is a state competition. So states where they have enough candidates and contestants that are vying for the same title, they compete. And I had the honor of representing Oakland at the November 2023 pageant last year, where I won my title of Miss Black California, and that's where my journey began. So there's many different ways to get to the crown, but I'd say as far as the journey to the competition and show day, it's all about your mindset. It's about your relationship with yourself, the conversations you're having with yourself, and your belief in yourself.
And what about when you take the stage? Because there are different categories and things that you have to, from the interview process to the talent. So tell me about the time on stage.
Yes, so there are several different categories. My favorite, personally, is talent. So everyone has 90 seconds to do a talent of their choosing. There are people who sing, dance, act, people who tap dance. There was last year the winner painted. So there's many different talents that exist. And of course, your composure on stage, but also your level of mastery and your self-expression is a part of that. Aside from that, there's fitness. Instead of swimsuit, which we don't do, we know that you can measure someone's well-being in their fitness wear. So that's a portion. There's also evening gown, because part of being a queen is your elegance. And then another one of my favorites is your onstage question and how well you handle pressure as well as answer really difficult questions.
Okay. And so what are some, give me an example of a difficult question, because that's my job. I give questions. So I want to know, what's a difficult question for you?
The question I received was, how can we support Black entrepreneurs? And the way that I recommend people handle difficult questions is first to breathe. Your brain needs oxygen, so breathing, taking your time, but also going with your gut. And for me, the way I answered the question was saying the way that we can help Black entrepreneurs is by representation and by the Black entrepreneurs in the audience. Didn't mean to call them out, but I did. The Black entrepreneurs in the audience following their dreams and not letting them pick up cobwebs in the cabinet. Meaning that the generation coming up behind us, they need someone to look up to. And those people are us if we allow ourselves to be that. And myself being an author, not really knowing what it meant to find healing in a damaged, mentally compromised state. My origin coming from eating disorder struggles for years undiagnosed. But when I finally was able to read the book called Not All Black Girls Know How to Eat by a Black author, Stephanie Covington Armstrong, I highly recommend it. It showed me that when people like you share their struggles, it actually empowers you. And it's contrary to popular belief. And I think, especially in the Black community, we don't share our struggles or share our pain. But that's what's necessary to heal and to grow, and for us to evolve into a better version of ourselves. So I wanted to live by example, so I used that, and then share that people who have entrepreneurial dreams, the movers and the shakers, they gotta move and they gotta shake. You gotta get out there and you gotta live your dreams, and someone's watching you and they're gonna look up to you one day.
Yes, that's amazing advice. I can see why you won. So also the talent portion, I know that you are an amazing singer and that's what you did on stage. Could you give us a little taste of that?
Yeah.
Okay, so just whenever you're ready.
Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Ooh, your daddy's rich and your ma is good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry.
Oh my goodness. So in the VIP section, we get serenaded by Miss Black USA. I love it. Okay. And so you spoke a little bit about your struggles with eating disorder. You wrote a book about it. So you were able to turn your pain into profit and passion. And so tell me about that struggle, if you can.
Yes. So I struggled with an eating disorder. I was diagnosed twice, and I seeked help for myself both times, which I think is sad because I've had my problematic relationship to food since I was a child. And the eating disorder, let me start by saying eating disorders are not about the food. It is a way to cope. We all have coping mechanisms in our life. We all deal with things and we find ways to make ourselves feel better. And my origin, actually, upon research with my therapist, my family is from Cameroon. So I'm actually a first-generation American. And Cameroon is not like America. And my parents, particularly my father, grew up with a lot of food insecurity, which is something we really take for granted. We live in the land of plenty, but my father was the opposite. And growing up with him and seeing his relationship to food, it showed that it is a way of comfort. And for me, growing up as a woman and realizing that I do have this problematic relationship and reading in my journals that I've kept since I was 9 years old and seeing that I've always had this affinity towards control, I knew that something had to be done because I was realizing it was taking over my life.
So did it have anything to do with your weight or your look, or was it just I don't want to eat?
It's multifaceted. And I think being a high achieving woman definitely played into it. Being from a predominantly white area played into it. And people who are from predominantly white or non-Black dominant areas do feel like they are on display a lot. So that's part of it. My family of origin is part of it. And also, one of the things that re-triggered me was the other non-Black pageants, actually. I was competing for another organization and realized that I started to relapse. And I almost quit. I almost dropped out of the pageantry completely just because it wasn't worth my mental health to put myself through something that was going to make me ill. But I realized, and actually my husband, Kendrick, who is, I would say he's my better half, but I'm a great half as well. He's the one who actually suggested, well, why don't you make this your platform? Why don't you talk about this? Because if you're dealing with this and you feel this pressure for these other pageants, like, why don't you talk about your struggle? And so I did. And I didn't win that pageant. I didn't even place, but it fueled something in me. And I knew that I had value because people would come up to me and tell me that I changed something in them. And that's where my journey to my book started. I took a break from pageantry. I was a little distraught after my last experience, but with the Miss Black USA organization, that prides itself in celebrating different shades, different sizes, different textures, different kinds of Blackness, and having us be not just tolerated but celebrated was huge for me. And I'm glad that the judges saw that too.
That's amazing. So tell me about your passion and the way that you're pushing this platform now besides your book. I know that you want to get out there and speak and attend conferences and just bring more awareness to eating disorders in the Black community.
Yes. So one of the ways I plan to do that is with visibility, meaning that the National Eating Disorder Association, with whom I am an official collaborator, is hosting their annual gala in New York City on November 16th. So being in attendance there, not only as a Black woman, which I think we need to be in those rooms, but being Ms. Black USA in that room shows that this is an important issue that I take seriously and that I'm willing to put myself on the forefront of. I really do consider myself a pioneer in the field.
All right. Anything else in the pipeline? I know you're super talented and you dabbled in some acting and all kind of things. What else can we look forward to from Miss Black USA?
Well, God willing, I will be at the presidential inauguration this January in Washington, D.C., wearing purple because regardless of the outcome, I wish America's next leader all of my luck, and I wish them peace, wisdom, and humility, because it is one thing I'm learning about being a leader is it's not about you. It's not about your personal gain. It's about the people. And I want to witness our next world leader or our next country leader. I mean, hey, we are kind of leading the pack and as far as countries are concerned, but I want to witness their moment and I want to be there to see America's rise.
And just to touch on that, we are in a historic moment right now. We have a female vice president, and she is now officially accepted the Democratic nominee for presidency. How do you feel about that? Being Miss Black USA, how do you feel about now it's a possibility of having a woman as our president?
Being from Oakland, let me start there. It means so much to me to meet people from the Bay Area. Even here in LA, when I see people from the Bay, it excites me. So knowing that we have a presidential nominee who's from the Bay Area, I feel all of the pride, all of it. And I think it's important for young women and girls to see women stepping up to the plate and not stepping down. A fun fact about me is I do character work. So I am a party princess, meaning I'm a princess for hire. So I've been Princess Ariel and Princess Tiana. But one of my favorite characters I've played has been President Barbie, because the kind of admiration you get and the kind of self-assurance you feel about yourself being a president makes you carry yourself differently. And I wish whoever ends up being in that Oval Office, I wish them the absolute best of luck, and I hope that they advocate on behalf of women as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sitting down with us, Ms. Deidre Tufon, Miss Black USA 2024. I'm Miss Conversation Piece, and until next time, stay tuned.